Can you please stand for the invocation? Heavenly Father, as we come today, Lord, we want to thank you for all our blessings. Lord, thank you for waking us up this morning and starting us on our way. Thank you, Lord, for watching over us on the dangerous highway. Now, Lord, as we go into this workshop, Lord, open our minds and our hearts so we can make good decisions for our community and for our town. As I pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilwoman Gretchen Forsythe, the
Jackie on here.
Councilwoman Cheryl McCall,
Here.
Councilman Robert Townsend,
Just now, 6:30.
Gansky, I'm sorry.
Present.
Vice Mayor Nicole Williams, and Mayor Ron Hill.
Guess it's my turn for the broken chair.
Oh, we'll get another,
Oh, you chair?
hang on.
Okay. Additional deletion and amendment to the agenda. Anybody have anything that they want to add or delete?
I have a question, I don't know if it's an addition or deletion about, the hours of the election. Is that something I can ask tonight? With the, I'd like to add that, please.
The hours about the election?
The, when we're gonna be open for the early voting and stuff.
That'll be C. I can't speak.
So I need to make a motion?
It's a workshop.
Just a
Oh,
workshop.
never mind.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Citizens on the floor. You don't have nobody. Was this put out?
Yes, it was. More than one time.
No, one time. All right, guys, let's go to new business, 2020-19 charter amendments.
Long deep breath. You can do it. You did do it.
Right, you don't want more emergencies, Leslie? You don't want more emergencies?
No, no more. You know, save me from myself at this point. Look, I just happily work and go, well, it's all covered. Y'all are getting your money's worth, just always trust that, Okay, and I do enjoy the work, so I'm not being too serious here, I'm just joking. All right, I'm trying to pull up my numbers and everything. Okay, so recently we found out that in 2019, the town of White Springs held a general town election, and part of that election involved voting on 7 amendments to the charter, and 4 of those 7 amendments passed. So I was sent a newspaper clipping showing that there was notice of this charter amendment voting. And so last week when we were over in Jasper, I went over to the supervisor of elections office and said, can you pull the results of the 2019 election? And she did, and I collapsed in the office, very dramatically, and then got back up. And then I realized that 4 of the amendments had passed. So, first one that passed was Amendment 1. Amendment 1 designated that council seats have a designated number. So you're still running at large, but each seat has a designated seat. And each candidate must, so, let me go over this. Each seat is decided by a majority vote. So here's another kind of wrinkle here that we gotta talk about. So we did go ahead and give everybody numbers randomly. I had to sort of act fast because the candidate packets were gonna be available. And so I needed to put something in the candidate packet. Each seat is decided by a majority vote part. So what that means technically is not the way it's handled now with a plurality. Majority vote means 50% plus one. And we know that was the intent because it mentions here that if no one receives a majority of the vote, then there's a runoff between the other two, the top performing candidates, the top two performing candidates. So that's how we know that it's not just whoever gets the most votes wins. Instead, the person who wins has to have 50% plus one. We'll talk later about the practicalities of doing a runoff election in White Springs and the financial impact of doing a runoff election, turnout and all that kind of stuff. As we're going through amendments, you could look at the possibility of going back to a plurality, meaning if you get 30%, let's say you get 40% and two other people get 30%, then you win because you got more votes. Yes?
This is of the voters that actually vote, not the voting pool.
Correct. Right. So like right now, if everybody gets 33 and 1/3%, then, well, hopefully that's not the case, but somebody gets 34, then the top two would then have to go to a runoff, and we would have to notice that, set it up, do early voting, all that kind of stuff would have to be done all over again. So that is what the citizens of White Springs voted for as number one. Number four, let's see here. Yeah, on to four. So number four passed. Let's go back to number two, because we gotta talk about number two. Number two would be to amend the charter so that each council member serves a 4-year term. The town voted not to do that, okay? All right, now we understand that. Let's go to number four. Number four basically says that the regular town election shall be held on the 4th Tuesday of April in each even-numbered year to accommodate the 4-year terms for council members, the 4-year terms that the city voted not to have, okay? And that it would also provide that an election for some seats on the council be held in 2019 to institute the 4-year terms. So obviously, that doesn't make sense because we're not doing 4-year terms. We're doing 2-year terms. Problem is we can't just ignore it completely like it has been for the last 7 years. We have to do something about it, which is what we'll talk about later. Just like number four, number five was passed. And this one basically said that to provide for the institution of 4-year terms, the 4-year terms that you decided not to have, by holding elections for seat 2 and 4 on April 23rd, 2019, with the expiration of those seats on 2022, and holding elections for seats 1, 3, and 5 on April 28th of 2020, with the expiration of those terms to be April 2024, to provide for runoff elections if required, and to provide that all elected officials be sworn in. That part doesn't really change. Well, we're in 2026, so none of that can be implemented. And all of it was there to supposedly institute the 4-year terms. So again, we've got to do something about taking that off the books for the charter. And then the last one that was put in was to provide that the town council has the authority to create and establish boards and committees in compliance with general law of the state of Florida. And that is actually something good because technically the charter has certain boards and committees, and it doesn't say anything about being able to create others, the town council being able to create others. From a practicality standpoint, it also says the town council is not prevented from creating boards and committees, so the town has been creating boards and committees probably since before this amendment was even done, so.
This would just cover the new one we just established.
Right, now, we don't have to put it in the charter, it just, we need to put in the charter that now the town council has this power. So,
Well, for instance, now we don't have to codify, like, we don't have to create an ordinance for the audit selection committee and then, do 2 votes and a first reading and everything, because it'll just be covered under 6.
so, that presented us with issues, because we've got an election coming up on April 28th. And now that I have cleverly discovered these amendments, we needed to find a way to implement them. So technically, amendments become effective the moment that they're passed. Now, there is also the concept that you're supposed to submit your revised charter to the state. Now, obviously, the charter was never revised and it was never submitted to the state. So that did present kind of like, okay, well, what happens here? In my opinion, even though it wasn't submitted to the state, we still know what the voters' intent was. So in the spirit of respecting the voters' intent, even though the council kind of let them down there, I think that, you know, there's a part of us, we need to acknowledge that this is what the voters intended to happen. And as we also know, there was a huge changeover where everybody left and all the prior council and everybody came in like 2020. So the new town clerk, the new town manager, there was a new town attorney. So the people who came in 2020 were never told about these amendments in 2019, and they were handed a charter from 2012. So that's why everybody has been using a 2012 charter. All right, so implementing number 1, we did that by assigning numbers to each seat. Each of you has a number. Robert is 1, Mayor is 2, Nikki's 3, Cheryl's 4, and Gretchen's 5. Just kind of randomly picked it off. We needed 1, 3, and 5, which are those seats that were up for election. So 1, 3, and 5 went to Robert, Nikki, and Gretchen, and 2 and 4 are up for next year, so that's how you guys got to it. So there we go. What's the other thing? Like I said, we'll need to address this whole runoff business later. So in an effort to try to rectify these amendments with our current charter, we needed to act fast to try to put charter amendments on this ballot. This ballot is in April 28th, and so counting backwards, doing the math that you see there for the dates, we literally have the deadline of Thursday for me to put the ordinance and to submit the ordinance for notice in the newspaper this Thursday. So we need to talk about today about how to draft that ordinance so that I can at least put it on notice in the newspaper on Thursday so that it could run on Wednesday, which is the 4th, which then gives us the full 10 days that we need before voting on the second reading on the 17th. So in your memo that I sent, I outlined our steps here. So today would be a workshop for us to talk about what type of charter amendments we're going to do. I've got to put that ordinance together, a draft of it, put it on notice on Thursday. The first reading would be on Tuesday coming up. The next day, the actual ordinance gets in the paper, and then the second reading is on the 17th for us to adopt. Now, at the first reading or second reading, I mean, there's opportunities to amend and change like with any other ordinance that comes before you, but I need to have a good idea of what we're doing so I can put it in the newspaper. So that is why we are here today. Our hard deadline is March 19th, which is why we're voting on March 17th, because we then have to put another notice in the paper giving at least 30 days before the election. So that would mean for it to be print in the March 25th paper. So that's the schedule. That's why we are on a time crunch. That's why I said if you guys have amendments that are very urgent, let me know. Otherwise, this is an opportunity that we can have every year. So this doesn't mean that we can't even start talking about other charter amendments. but to just sort of get to what we needed done, since we don't have a lot of time to talk about it, and we don't have a lot of time to get a lot of citizen feedback. So I don't think, that it would be fair to do anything major. So, about 3 a.m., I think I sent you the proposed amendments that I promised to send you. And so let's go over them one by one, and we'll talk about them. There are technically 6 or 7 here. We have the ones to, fix the issues from 2019, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 to make sure that we are complying with Florida law. Because every 10 years, you're supposed to update your charter to make sure it complies with Florida law. And so these are just some of the ones that were sort of like the glaring, easy ones. I would say that I can't sit and tell you today that everything else in the charter complies, but I can tell you that these 4 don't. So that much I can tell you, and I think that's probably about enough for us to put on a ballot. So,
Can you talk about number 3 on the page of official ballot, general town election?
from 2019?
Yeah.
Okay,
April 23rd, yeah.
so 2019, number 3, let me pull up the actual language.
Rules and minutes.
So that one did not pass, but let me talk about it. So, pull up the exact language. This is from the ballot. So number 3 was about rules and minutes, and stating that the town charter be amended to provide for additional procedures as guidelines when conducting regular and special town council meetings beyond Robert's Rules of Order. The town council recognizes that Robert Rules of Order are not applicable to every procedural matter governing a public official, and that other procedural rules consistent with Florida law may be adopted from time to time. That one did not pass. Our charter already states that we're governed by Robert's Rules of Order.
Okay, so if we just take this away, then we are still governed by Robert's Rules of Order.
Yeah, that's already in the charter. Yep. So we're good there as far as they were trying to, I don't know what they were trying to do, so I'm not gonna leave that alone.
So that's enough.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that. Because I did get your note about Robert's Rules of Order, and we verified that is what's in the charter for how we are to conduct meetings.
I put a page right behind the agenda that's in the current charter.
Yeah, so if you look behind your agenda, the first page behind the agenda, you have to read 20.
I see it. And number 7, corporate boundaries.
That one didn't pass either. So we don't have to do anything about that
We can go
one.
to the comprehensive plan to do that at the next election.
If that's something, looking at, let me see if I can pull that. Memo. Number 7, provide that the corporate boundaries of the town of White Springs be defined by the ordinance of annexation having the latest date, and that appendix A to the charter be deleted. So, here's the thing. Defined by the ordinance of the latest date? Good luck finding that. But it failed. So as far as we know, appendix A attached to the charter that's still in effect. And I can tell you, I know that I've reached out to the state. So you no longer have to submit ordinances to the state. But even when we did, apparently that wasn't happening. So we are not able to go to the state to look for these things.
Have we found the book that's here?
We do have a book that's here, but we didn't find any ordinances from 2019, because we even looked again today. Yeah.
Have we added the ones we've proposed this,
So all the ones that we've done, we have those.
and they're in that book?
They're not necessarily in the book, they're electronic. We
Yeah,
have them
they're
electronically
here,
right now.
And reference to them in the minute book.
Say that again?
Yeah,
There's reference to them in the minute book that, Denise got out there.
yeah, it's in the minutes book. And then, but I've got a lot of them scanned in because They have some scanned in, I have some scanned in, and we need to put them together. For the actual signed, fully signed ones.
So today, there isn't any one place we can go and say, oh, there they are.
You could ask me, and then if I don't have it, you can ask Mr. Gardner. One of us has it. Sometimes I take them and sometimes he takes them, and we gotta get better about that, but yeah, we've got them.
We're in the process of creating a book.
Yes.
And bring that up today.
And that is part of one of the findings and that we need to implement, that we're working on implementing. Because we now do have a resolution about how we are codifying our resolutions and ordinances. And so we're in the process of getting that all into effect.
And resolutions and ordinances each have their own, will have their own book,
No, they will be numbered in one book.
one book.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's an ordinance, sometimes it's a resolution, sometimes it's both.
No, it's never gonna be both, but it'll be, they're
You
always.
never have the same number on the ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
So that leaves us here. Now, here's the other wrinkle. What we have is what is required to be on the ballot, the title and the summary. The ordinance itself would have had the exact language. We don't have the ordinance. Now, could I look at the summary and create the language that matches the summary? I can do that. But I do not have what the exact language was in that ordinance. But I can, we've got section numbers and what was to be amended, and as long as it was actually in the summary, which it should be, then I can make that happen. So, here we are.
We checked with Hamilton County Board of Elections, they have none of that.
Yeah, to see if the supervisor for elections might have had like a full copy of the ordinance. And so, if we can think of other places to check, we'll keep checking, but.
But this should be covered as long as you create one that matches this. And that would be the easiest way
I
to
don't
go.
think it was one done.
I'm sorry?
That there was an ordinance done?
I don't either.
It wasn't, my understanding, there wasn't one done.
Well, that makes it
I think
easier.
you find anything for that.
That means it's not out there.
The way you're gonna be able to turn it in.
I don't think there's one down either.
Yeah, so,
From Lake City.
yeah.
So the only ones you'll need to create are the one for number 1 and the one for number 6.
That is correct, and we're looking at 4 and 5, so I won't change 4 and 5 until we have the election and figure out what we're actually putting in. Because if I put, none of that makes sense right now, because it's one outdated and
If you
two.
don't have number 2.
Exactly. So I don't know why they did what y'all did. I don't know why the folks did what they did, but that's what they did. And technically, now it is part of our charter, technically. We can't just ignore it and not put it in, like for the last 7 years. We do have to address basically not putting it in, that we are not gonna put in.
And that has to be done on the ballot because it was on the ballot before.
Correct.
So we just say this is a correction from the 2019.
We're gonna say all the fancy stuff that I typed out last night.
Okay. Fine, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So let's start with number 1, and number 1 has an option 1 and option 2, and that has to do with whether we keep this runoff part here or go to plurality. So let's talk about that. What is the general take on the election results? Basically, do we want to have the possibility of having to do a runoff or not?
My honest opinion, I would be shocked if we have more than 2 people running for any seat in the next 20 years.
But we do. It could happen.
It could happen, I would.
And then what are we gonna
be very
do?
surprised.
But I would suggest small town like this with districts, and you keep it for relative wins, and
I think
What's the option if plurality doesn't win?
Runoff.
a runoff. So that means if let's say you have 3 people and no one gets 50% plus 1 of the vote,
Understood.
then the top 2 would then do a runoff.
But either way, if there's only 2 running, then it's always a popularity thing.
Yeah,
One.
and unless it's a tie, in which case, then they pull, they literally pull a number, see who put a star on one piece of paper, put nothing on the other, and see who draws. Literally, so it would be something of chance, if you get a tie. All right, so if we're not doing a runoff, then that means we are going with version B
Well,
of,
let me make sure I got this right. If three people are running for seat 3. One gets like 30, one gets 31, and somebody else gets 32, so how would that work?
say those numbers again, 30, 31, and 32? Wait,
Yeah, if somebody
the
get
one
like
that
30,
has 32 wins.
Win, champ,
so it won't be,
Basically, and we don't, yeah, so like if the one who gets the most votes wins,
And 2 of them get 32,
it doesn't
you
matter.
pull it out of a hat.
If the 2 get 32 and those are the top 2 votes, then basically it would be a game of chance. Well, not a game, but it's something of chance. So like something goes in, pull something out, whatever. It could be their name on a piece of paper, and we have the supervisor of elections reach in and pull it out or something,
It's
and
gotta be better than having a whole nother election.
yes, yes.
So that's option B.
Right, so now we're looking at proposed charter amendment number 1, version B. And so this one would involve, that's when we would add the number 7. So this involves number 7. So this would be a charter section 2.02, 2.0A and B, 4.01. You see the numbers here. Ballot title, confirmation of annual town elections, 2-year council terms, and election structure, supersession of unimplemented 2019 amendments. So it would read on the ballot, shall the town charter be amended to confirm annual town elections on the 4th Tuesday in April, 2-year council member terms, and that 2 seats are filled in odd numbered years and 3 seats in even numbered years, consistent with charter practice since 2012. And to expressly supersede and void charter amendments numbers 4 and 5 adopted in 2019, these transition provisions were never implemented and are no longer operable. And then you see the actual proposed language. So still, we're using the 2 in odd number years for 2-year terms, 3 in even number years for 2-year term. We're adding in the part here that says each candidate, this isn't so much part of the language that, okay, let's put it like this. Amendment 1, we don't technically need to do anything actually to implement Amendment 1. But Amendment 1 needs to already be here. So each candidate for council shall designate the specific numbered seat for which he or she is qualifying and running as provided in section 2.02C, which we're changing based on 2019. Each designated seat shall be decided by a majority vote as provided in section 2.02C. No provision of this charter or any previously adopted charter amendment shall be construed to establish a term length other than 2 years for town council members. Then,
I have a question.
sure.
When we do the beginning,
Mhm.
the packets, and I said, oh, I wanna run for seat, I don't know, let's say 3, 4, and 5 are running.
Mhm.
I wanna run for seat 3, and then 2 other people run for seat 3, but nobody runs for 4 and 5.
Can you appoint somebody?
Okay, so. We would
Is it
handle
gonna be
that.
announced who's running for what before we vote, or it's just a?
All right, let me go slowly on this one because it's complicated. All right, so let's say we've got candidates for 1 and 3 and nobody for 5. That means that when qualifying ends and let's say Gretchen's term ends, that then creates a vacancy. We would have 1 vacancy and it would be filled by appointment from council. Because when her term expires, nobody else is stepping in. That is, now we're at a vacancy one person, council can do it. Let's say no one runs for 3 and 5. And then here we go, and we've got 3 and 5 that their terms expire. Now we've got 2 vacancies. Now we have to go through the process in the charter, which is to call a special election.
Is there any way we can educate the people to understand this?
So the packets, do we have a packet that we can, a candidate packet? So,
Because I know when we ran before, we had to
Give it
choose
to
1
Cheryl.
year or 2 year.
Yeah, because they were, they have the vacancies
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
then.
special election.
That was a special election y'all had.
right, so can you hand the candidate packet down there, Cheryl? And I will, of course I don't have page numbers, but if you look on, it's not page 1, page 2.
But depending on how, hopefully after we're here tonight, we'll be able to publish who seats are coming up vacant.
So-
1, 3, and 5.
So go
The
through
name
the
of who,
packet.
you know, who the
Yeah.
incumbent is.
Well, hold on, let her see, turn a couple pages, it's about page 8, including the cover, so
What's the
page
top
8.
of it say?
Notice a charter amendment,
Yes.
okay. A charter amendment passed in 2019 requiring candidates for election to designate which seat they are qualifying and running for. Accordingly, each candidate must designate whether they are running for seat 1, 3, or 5. Candidates can choose only one seat to qualify and run for. And that, then we list out at-large 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and your designated seats. When they do the candidate sworn affidavit on the next page, bullet point 3 says I'm qualifying or running for seat 1, 3, 5. They gotta check that. Other things to note is now that we have seat numbers on the paperwork that needs to be submitted for each seat, almost on every paperwork, I want to say, it says office sought and include district, circuit, group, or seat number. So now all the qualifying paperwork will have a seat number. Now this is important to spread the word on and for you guys to know for sure. Let's say it's 3 days before the end of qualifying. There are 3 people running in seat 3. Nobody running in seat 5. So someone says, well, I'm gonna move over to seat 5. You can't just say, hey, move my paperwork over to seat 5. Because now all your paperwork was for seat 3. You're gonna have to redo all your paperwork for seat 5. And you're gonna have to get 15 petitions because your petitions that you had before were for seat 3. So you're gonna have to get 15 petitions for seat 5. So
And how late can you do that in this?
the last day is qualifying. That last day of qualifying is the 17th, March 17th. That's it.
We weren't told during the qualification who else was running or where.
Well, everybody's been briefed on that. If anybody wants to know who has already filed for which seat, that information is public information.
Okay, thank you.
So if someone calls and says, you know,
Somebody
Sanithia,
running for this
has
seat.
anybody filed for seat 3? Sanithia will let them know if anybody's filed for seat 3.
Perfect, thank you.
And so that information will be freely given. If we get to a point where we can start like posting it, we will post it, but that information will be freely provided. It's public information.
I'll let you know right now, there's only one application in, and that's Robert, so don't need to call me. You do not need to call me right now.
We can already get packets?
Yeah, yeah, I get,
Let's keep this.
I get you going.
Could've picked up your packets February the 17th.
Yep.
So-
Thankfully, nobody did, because I changed it on the 18th. So once I found everything out, the next day I had to change the packets, I had to do everything. So, all right, so now we're going to section 2, amendment of 4.01. The regular town election shall be held on the 4th Tuesday in April of each year. Special elections may be called for any purpose by the town council, provided the election is called for a Tuesday. Such election shall conform to the provisions of the general and special law. Absentee ballots shall be tabulated in the manner provided by law. Let me see. Then we go to section 3. This is sort of reestablishing that elections are, of course, happening each year instead of just even numbered years. That was technically voted on in Amendment 4. During odd numbered years, seats 2, this is section 3, Amendment 2, section 407. During odd numbered years, seats 2 and 4 shall be filled. During even numbered years, seats 1, 3, and 5 shall be filled. That's the way it's happening now. The method for determining the winner of each designated seat shall be as provided in section 2.02C, which,
You said 407,
406.
oh, okay, you got that.
Yeah. The method for determining each designated seat shall be filled by the candidate who receives more, okay. Hold on, let me think this through. More than half of the votes cast for that seat. In the event no candidate receives more than half of the votes, a runoff election shall be held. So now let's look over to Amendment 7.
Wait, can you go back to this amendment, section 3, 406?
Yeah,
You
let's.
refer to 202C, but you haven't written 202.6, C. C isn't anywhere in here because on the previous page you've got A and B, but you haven't spelled out C anywhere.
C goes back to just what's already in the charter for C.
So you don't have to reiterate it in this, okay.
But now let's go all the way to the very end on 7. See if I can make sense of this.
Amendment 7?
Yeah, because it's supposed to, let's see.
Okay, I found it.
Okay,
That's the last page, right?
yeah. So, because Amendment 1 was put in, I think the way that I was trying to figure it out is that then we needed to do this way, but I might be overthinking it. So Amendment 7 says elimination of runoff election requirement for designated council seats. Shall the town's charter be amended to eliminate the runoff election? I think I'm overthinking this too much, and that we should, hold on.
If we just
Rethink
get-
it. There's a reason why I did this. I promise there's a reason in my head why I did this. Let me think it through.
Well, there's 202C right there.
I think it's because single subject rule, I think is maybe where my mindset was.
So you couldn't make the adjustment on the other amendment, you had to make it on this amendment.
This section.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking. So you can only do one subject per amendment. But,
So this just clarifies that we're going with the popular vote versus the runoff.
yeah, well, let me go get my thought back together here, because who knows? At 3 a.m., by the time I got to 3 a.m., what I was really thinking. Look, literally, when I was typing y'all's email, I was it took me, I fell asleep like 3 times just typing that short email. I promise you, just knocked out, sitting straight up.
And that came in today?
I think I might have sent it, look, I try not to let y'all know what I'm doing, so I send it in the morning, schedule it to send in the morning.
Because I didn't get anything on this.
You didn't?
No, the last one I got is, yeah.
Did I only send it to you guys? See, I might only send it to Lee and the clerk.
I didn't get your 3 a.m. notice.
You got yours?
I'm holding the printed,
Yeah,
so.
but who knows, I don't think I left y'all off, but again, I might have started putting in
Which
things that fell
which email
asleep.
address did you use?
Well, I use the ones that I always use, but I may have started
Have
putting
you
them in
started
and fell
using your
asleep.
city email yet?
And thought I was somewhere else in the
Have
process.
you started using your town email?
No, I don't use her, I don't send it to her town email, so it wouldn't be there. Yeah, let me think back through this about single subject, let me go back.
Okay, go back to your amendments.
Yes,
Shorten this meeting.
yes. while my brain functions, let's switch over to the second amendment, because it gets easier. And we'll go back to that one. All right. Because what we want to do is no runoffs. And so let me figure out if I need to do that in a separate, do I really need to do that in a separate amendment? But I'll figure that out. Okay. Amendment 2, let's do Amendment 2. Amendment 2 to council voting requirements to conform to Florida statute. Okay, so right now we're into changes that need to be made to conform with Florida law. So right now in your charter, what it says, and I promise you I don't think we've been doing it this way. So a quorum would be like 3 of you, right? According to the charter, anything that passes would still need all 3 people to vote for it. Because the way the current charter reads is that it has to be majority of the council, that it passes, like things pass with the majority of the council.
So back when we had 4 people,
4 people, the 3 people were fine. It was when there's only 3 of you here, it had to be a unanimous vote for everything, which,
and it still should have that, right?
no. Because that's a hard bar. Like most places don't have, that's not even the way like they have it in the Florida statutes.
Okay, so just who shows up,
A majority of
When
the
you
people, when you
vote,
have a quorum, and a majority of the people who are present.
but I thought if we didn't have a quorum, we couldn't vote, is that
That's
changed?
still, no, that's still the same.
No, that's,
So, okay, there are 3 of you here, Robert, Cheryl, Gretchen. Right now, the way the charter says, if y'all vote on something,
Oh, it has to be unanimous rather than 2 to 1,
yeah,
gotcha, okay,
this would mean 2 to 1 would work.
gotcha.
So,
But we still have to have 3 to vote.
3, you still have to have a quorum,
Okay,
right?
that makes sense.
So the charter be amended to provide that town council action requires an affirmative vote of a majority of the members present at a duly constituted quorum meeting consistent with Florida statute section 166.041, while retaining all existing supermajority requirements specified elsewhere in the charter. And I mention that because, like, let's say right now, in order to remove the town manager, that requires 4 votes, 4 out of 5. So that can be looked at in the future, but right now I wanted to specify that we're not changing supermajority votes elsewhere in the charter.
So does that one, because that one goes different from this one, which one rules?
The 4 out of 5 would stay,
Okay,
unless you guys change that, but this, because it says, while retaining all existing supermajority requirements. So,
and how many supermajority exist, you know?
I don't know, I just remember that one off the top of my head.
Supermajority,
Yeah,
certain things you have to be in.
but there are certain things by law that are required.
Supermajority.
So we'd have to go through it piece by piece for next vote.
Most of the things we're doing is fine. When we get to some of the heavier stuff, and by heavier stuff, I would say,
Redoing the charter?
actually, no.
No.
And it only takes a majority vote of the citizens to change the charter, not even a supermajority.
And we're supposed to do that every 10 years.
Because basically, the
Like
charter amendments are
amendments.
decided by ordinance, and you guys vote on it like any other ordinance.
you have to get a charter committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they recommend to the council.
Right.
That makes
So,
sense. Next year.
So this one, then the language here states the same thing. A majority of all members of the town council shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business, except as otherwise expressly provided in this charter or by general law. All actions of the town council shall require an affirmative vote of a majority of the members present at any meeting at which a quorum is present. And then the rest of that is pretty much standard. So number 2, any questions about number 2?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Number 3, another one to conform with Florida law. So this one is an amendment to ordinance effective date provision to conform to Florida statute. So Florida statute basically states that amendments become effective within 10 days of adoption or as otherwise provided in the ordinance. Our charter says that, ordinances become effective immediately. The difference why you want the flexibility is, let's say it's an ordinance with a new rule, a new law, and if people don't follow it, they can get fined. That may be one you wanna do 10 days for to make sure that there's proper notice to people that in 10 days, you're gonna have to comply with this. And so
So it's a grace period.
Wait a minute, say that again, man.
Yeah.
Say that again.
So you can, okay, so our charter says that all ordinances become effective when signed, like immediately, as soon as they're adopted.
Yeah.
Florida statute says all ordinances become effective within 10 days after adoption or as otherwise specified in the ordinance or by general law. Most of the time, we're doing ordinances that become effective upon adoption. But right now, if we wanted to say, let's say you've gotta have a certain type of fence. I don't know, I'm just making something up.
Right.
You don't necessarily wanna make that effective when you sign it, because now the people who didn't even know they needed to do it, you give them 10 days, so you might wanna put in there 10 days, or whatever else you wanted to put in there, maybe even 30 days. Because now, this is a requirement, but you wanna give people a chance to know what the requirement is and give them a chance to comply.
That makes sense.
And so that is a change to be in accordance with basically what the Florida law says. So you could still make it effective upon adoption, but now you would have the ability to make it 10 days or whatever you want to put in the ordinance, depending on what type of ordinance you're doing. So that's basically. Except as otherwise provided in the ordinance itself. So the automatic would be 10 days. Unless you put in the ordinance itself or required by general law, another date. So the standard is 10 days. If it doesn't specify an effective date, you can specify an effective date. So it'll either be what you put in the ordinance or 10 days.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So these are kind of like easy ones. Now, I don't, look, I still don't know if people are gonna vote for them. And I don't know why you gotta vote on stuff just to make the stuff legal, but there you go.
But then if they leave it blank, then we don't have, as long as we get one voting for it, it wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody vote.
Yeah, and so we might need to do some education on this, but hopefully the fact that it says to conform with Florida statute,
We didn't just make something up.
yeah. So number 4, this is another one that's interesting. If you look at this statute, and let me pull it up so I can read to you exactly what it says.
The 1160316.
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick. Because this is an interesting one, but it's actually required to be in our charter. And the wording is important, because I read this and I was like, what in the world? So here is subsection 6. Each municipality shall by ordinance or charter provision provide procedures for filling a vacancy in office caused by death, resignation, or removal from office. Easy. We've got vacancies done. Such ordinance or charter shall also provide procedures for filling a vacancy in candidacy caused by death, withdrawal, or removal from the ballot of a qualified candidate following the end of the qualifying period, which leaves fewer than 2 candidates for an office.
So if 2 were running, 1 gets dead or sick, we have to have a new procedure.
But we still got 4 people in council.
So, well, no, for an office,
Covering.
fewer than 2 candidates running for an office. An office would technically be the seat.
So this is a new thing.
I don't know how new it is. Look, this statute was last updated in 94, so, but
So if Nikki and I were running for seat 2 and one of us backed out for whatever reason, then this would take effect.
right, so this is only after qualifying. So a
Your name
vacancy,
is on the ballot.
in candidacy. So this person's already a candidate and it's after the qualifying. So I was like, huh? And I was like, fewer than 2, so 2 is not enough? 2 is not enough?
So if you have 2 running and 1 backs out, then this takes effect.
So yeah. But it also means if you had 3 candidates and 1 backs out, hold on, fewer than 2 candidates. So if you've got, let's say you've got 1 running. So you've got at least 1 person running. What do? Here we go. I don't know why they said less than 2. Like there's a bunch of numbers.
There's 1 and 0.
1 or 0. Whoever wrote that, it really baffled me for a second, again at 3 a.m. So, addition of mandatory vacancy and candidacy procedure as required by Florida statutes. 166.031 subsection C. Shall 4.03, which would be a new section, be amended to add procedures. So, I don't know, but that probably, to create procedures, or should it be created? Let me change that. Created, since it's a new section.
Or to create.
Be created to add procedures for a vacancy and candidacy after the close of qualifying, provided that a sole remaining candidate is automatically deemed elected, and that seats with no remaining candidates are filled by appointment or special election as required by the charter.
Does it need a question mark?
Yeah, it's a question. So the way that they appear on the ballot is shall, and then they go yes or no. So they'll appear as a question, that meant for an answer of yes or no.
And this makes sense the way it's worded.
So then it's the provisions of, okay. Vacancy and candidacy. A vacancy and candidacy occurs when, after the close of the qualifying period, a qualified candidate dies, withdraws, or is removed from the ballot, leaving fewer than 2 qualified candidates for a designated seat. 1 remaining candidate. If a vacancy and candidate leaves exactly 1 qualified candidate for a designated seat, that candidate shall be automatically deemed elected to that seat by operation of law without further action by the town council or any other body. The seat shall be removed from the election ballot. The candidate shall take office at the time and in manner otherwise provided by this charter.
That's kind of what we all got, you know.
Yeah. Didn't even have a charter, and then, like before, but we made that happen, right? Okay, no remaining candidates for a single seat. So we have there's 1 seat that's on the ballot and no remaining candidates in that 1 seat. If a vacancy and candidacy leaves no qualified candidates for a single designated seat, no election shall be held for that seat. The seat shall be deemed vacant upon the expiration of the current term and shall be filled by appointment of the town council pursuant to section 2.03 of this charter. The appointed person shall serve until the next regular election at which the seat is scheduled to appear on the ballot.
Which is what we do now.
Now, no remaining candidates in 2 or more seats. So a vacancy and candidacy leaves no qualified candidates for 2 or more designated seats. Simultaneously, the town council shall call a special election for those seats to be held as soon as practicable in accordance with general law. And then general law controls nothing in this section shall be construed to supersede any applicable provision of general law.
And that's already in the charter anyway, so that.
Yeah.
Good, okay.
So we just had to put that part in there and talk about vacancy and candidacies. Out of all the things they could tell us we must have in our charter, that seemed like a very important one to somebody. All right, proposed amendment 5. Amendment to nepotism prohibition to define relative by reference to Florida statute section 112.3135. Now this one we could talk about because the way that our current charter uses the term immediate family member, but it doesn't define who is an immediate family member. And the statute uses the word relative when talking about family. And then by statute, the statute defines, what a relative means. And let me pull that up.
If we don't have relatives, we don't have town government. I mean, there won't be anybody to work.
So the way, where did I pull that?
It keeps you out of a whole lot of trouble.
So, restriction, okay, the statute is about restriction on employment of relatives. And it defines relative by statute, as with respect to a public official means any individual who is related to the public official as father, mother, son, daughter, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, first cousin, nephew, niece, husband, wife, father-in-law, mother-in-law, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, stepfather, stepmother, stepson, stepdaughter, stepbrother, stepsister, half-brother, or half-sister. Now, yeah, let's go to the charter and see what the charter's talking about, because the charter's not talking about everything under the sun.
But
Because-
one thing on there, no member of the town council can do that.
Right,
Y'all have.
But we can have it in our, we can have it in our employees.
so like,
In the charter, I appoint all the employees. Y'all appoint me and then I appoint all the employees. Y'all don't have the authority to appoint any employee.
Right.
That's
Except for
right,
him.
you know,
But
in
you
any
still
case.
have to follow the
except for
charter,
him.
right?
So, no, so you get,
He can go against the
Well,
charter.
he has to follow the charter,
you guys appoint him,
That's
so
right.
you can't appoint,
as long
Your
as that
brother,
immediate
sister,
family
mother,
member
cousin.
is
Well,
not a
cousins are
supervisor,
right.
direct
But he has
supervisor.
to follow the charter when he's doing employees. But
if, depending on, no, where the charter says it, so
No,
let me pull up the exact language in the charter so you can,
okay.
it wouldn't be him violating the charter if it's only talking about the council. So let me just make sure I got
This
it.
is, this is the council, the elected officials.
right.
So this is what,
Elected officials can.
But that's just for a council seat.
That's
Right.
No, that's for anybody.
no, so, okay, so
Anybody.
section 5.08, department personnel, no member of town council or an immediate family member of a town council member may fill a vacancy in any department while the town council member is in office.
So if I was related to Sunithia, I couldn't be,
Depending on how you're related. So cousins, it doesn't say anything about cousins. So all of us cousins are good.
We're not first cousins
I'm
either
just
way.
concerned this is gonna mess up our office staff. This isn't gonna mess up our office staff, is it?
No,
So no
because
member of town council or immediate member, family member of town council may fill a vacancy in any department. So that means that none of your defined relatives for town council that are
Can be on
listed.
payroll.
So Robert's son can't be hired in a,
You can't
Vacancy.
come and vote.
yeah, he can't be on the payroll.
And are we okay with that? I mean, we don't have that now?
Mm-mm.
Okay, good.
Because none of us, the closest relation we've got are some cousins, and it doesn't even say first cousin.
Okay, perfect.
So, but this would mean that we're now defining what says in the charter, immediate family member, based on the Florida statute definition of relative.
So how does this work when it goes the other way? Could the immediate family member of somebody who works here win office?
I think so, you know why? Because it says may fill a vacancy
Vacancy.
in any department while the town council member is in office. So it would be the hiring of someone from town council, as opposed to that person already being employed. That would be my take on it, because they use the word vacancy. So it would be a new hire.
So if Gretchen's daughter was already working for the town,
And then Gretchen got appointed, it would be fine.
she'd be grandfathered in.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be an action of nepotism. They're trying, the idea is to avoid you guys
Employing our family.
influencing your employee, the town manager, to hire a family member.
Understood.
So like, that's the purpose behind it.
But it's not gonna mess with what we've got going.
No.
We can't lose anybody with that.
Nope, we can't look at what we got. So, 5.08 would be amended.
I got a stupid question.
Sure.
Stupid.
If Robert's son ran for a different council seat. Is he allowed to do that?
Yes.
Yes.
So
In a
that,
different town or here?
no, here,
Robert's not doing it.
kind of,
Because that's
like if
not
their
a
name was
department.
Carlucci, for example.
So we have a father and son on council in Jacksonville, which is creating its own problems.
But that's totally
In
legal.
that case,
That's fine.
Robert would not be hired, he'd be elected to the office.
Well, that's, I just wanted to point that out, that would be
It's
okay.
been like that before. You had the,
Yeah.
Steve Green was the mayor and his wife Diane was on the
No,
council.
let me tell you, but here's the wrinkle, because you would not think this would be a problem. Joe is the son, Matt is the father. And like even the daddy of Matt has served on council back with my grandmother, the first consolidated council.
I remember that.
Yes, and so we've got the Carlucci's, long-standing family. They can serve on council together. And they don't vote alike at all, so I don't think they're talking about anything. And I'm surprised Matt's wife hasn't killed her son yet at this point, because,
He's aggravating dad.
well, let's just say Matt's an elder, and he should be respected. And some of those young guys on council are very disrespectful to him. And I wouldn't sit there and let you talk to my dad like that. Like, the council president, Matt got up to come over and tell the president that he has to leave early. And the council president, called Sergeant at Arms to come over and, detain him.
What?
Because he thought Matt was gonna do something.
How many people are on the town council?
19.
19.
But here's the wrinkle.
It's a senate.
Joe wants to run for president of council.
And that'll put his dad in the town.
Joe can't be president of council for some ethics reason. Like, they're going through the ethics commission right now, and so far, Joe can't be on, president of city council with his dad on council. How does that make sense? Y'all can serve together, even if Matt doesn't vote. Even if Matt doesn't vote for council president, they can't do it. Do not ask me about the logic on that, but that just goes to show you,
Then he
not all
realizes
rules make
Jordan
sense.
makes sense.
Not all rules make sense. And no, and they're awful to Matt. The council president, didn't put him on any committees at first.
Well, it's Matt's daddy that my family knew real well.
Right, Joe.
The original Joe.
The original Joe's nothing like the younger Joe. But I wouldn't sit by and let you, be rude to my dad. I don't care.
And his mama didn't get up and smack him.
Joe just sits there, and he's got an Italian mom, and I just don't know why she hadn't beat him good yet. But this is on video. Nick!
Now you talk about a situation.
Let the record reflect
Cheryl, you talk about a situation.
that I love Matt Carlucci. I'll just put it that way.
We respect
It's all about.
Yes.
Make it that nice.
Yes. I don't
Her
know
brother
Joe.
was attorney, and her
But I
brother
love
was
that.
the slumlord in town. Slum landlord, yeah. She had all the dilapidated houses.
Was she on the committee too? The slumlord?
So she was the mother of the mayor and the attorney. And you think I didn't have to walk so lightly in that case?
So the
And I'll
mother,
say this, when I
The
go to
one
speak
was,
in council, I tell them all, Matt is
Matt
and he's taking pictures of me, and they send them to like my favorite uncle. I love Matt. And then I'll send me something like, get him, girl.
All right, let's move on.
So that's the nepotism one. It would follow the Florida statute definition of relative, but we got an understanding of that. All right. 6. Papers are all messed up. All right, so the charter says that in order to sue the town, you have to give 30 days notice. And I was looking at that because I'm like, that doesn't seem right.
You mean somebody from outside has to get 30 days notice before they file suit?
Anybody would, no suit or action of law or equity of any kind or nature whatsoever against the town shall be instituted against the town unless a written statement giving the particular of the alleged cause of action containing a notice of intent to sue shall be filed with the town council at least 30 days before the suit is filed. There's nothing like that in Florida law. What is in Florida law is a notice that you have to provide before you do tort actions, which has to be provided 6 months in advance. And you've got to send it to, basically like the CFO and a bunch of other people, you know, so 30 days doesn't appear anywhere in there, you gotta give 6 months. So then I was checking, okay, can we do something by contract? And they're like, no, by law, we can't require that someone give us 30 days to sue us in the charter. It could be in the contract. We can negotiate as two parties to put that in a contract, that no suit should be filed without a notice. But we can't make that law by itself unilaterally.
Because statute overrules it.
The statute says, well, there's case law out there that basically says for contract stuff, like you breach a contract, that you have a right to sue, that the municipality, you have that right. But
We are suing or they are suing us?
they're suing us,
Okay.
that you have that right to sue. And there's no mechanism that gives us the right to say that they have to wait 30 days by our rules. But if you do a contract, like in our contract with the auditor, we put in there about some notice periods, and we also reference Florida law, that's okay because that's a mutually agreed upon document.
Same with the DOT contract, stuff like that?
Any contract, if you can come to an agreement, but we can't just unilaterally require that they do it. So let's put it like this, if somebody sued us and they didn't give us notice, and then we tried to go to court and say you didn't give us notice, we would lose under this.
Under the existing
Now-
charter.
Right, now the one required for the 6 months for tort claims, that is law, that is definite.
Statute.
Yes. So this basically would say amended to remove the existing pre-suit written notice requirement which conflicts with Florida statute 768.28 governing tort claims and is unenforceable as applied to contract claims, and replace it with the provision subjecting all claims against the town to applicable general law while preserving all sovereign immunity defenses.
What's the difference between a tort claim and a contract claim?
Tort claims are basically injury claims. So,
So this isn't covering them, it's only covering contract?
the statute, the ones where you have to give 6 months notice, like if if J&SO, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office runs into a vehicle, I've got to give them 6 months notice before I can sue them.
Whoa.
Yeah, 30 days, and I've got to do that within 3 years because that's what the statute says. This 30-day business, that would not even comply with Florida law. So why even have that? And then by contract law, it would be unenforceable. So if we required somebody just by the charter of giving us 30 days notice, we wouldn't be able to enforce that. Because there's nothing in the law that gives us the right to do that unilaterally.
So is this amendment 7 covering both tort and contract?
Number 6, yes. Yes, so what it says here is, let's see here, shall be subject to the requirements, limitations, and conditions established by applicable general law, including but not limited to Florida statute section 768.28 as may be amended from time to time, because they're actually, I think, working on some amendments right now. Because the problem is, you have 3 years to do the notice, but they changed the statute of limitations to 2 years, and they didn't change the notice period. So now they're trying to fix that. So,
Good idea.
yeah, talk about us.
And there's no telling what's gonna come out of this one where they're talking about raising the claim, the amount and all that stuff, so.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have at least 6 months if somebody decides to sue us to figure out what they're doing.
For injury claims under state law.
But under contract?
Under contract, they can sue. And under federal law, they can
We
sue.
got 30 days.
Because federal law, we can't bind federal claims. Like, we can't do that, the town nor the state can impose on federal claims. But if they wanted to sue us for a car accident, a slip and fall, you know, some type of negligence claim, Ray beat them up, yeah, they have to give us the 6 months notice.
And that's per statute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
And we have it here as may be amended from time, we just put the statute number in, that way, whatever the statute says,
We're covered.
we're covered. And nothing in this chapter shall be construed to create any notice or precinct requirement beyond those established by applicable general law, waive any defense of sovereign immunity available to the town under state or federal law, or expand the town's liability beyond the extent permitted by general law. And the town shall be entitled to assert all defenses, blah, 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 blah. Now, like I said, when we do contracts and it's negotiated between the parties to do a notice period, we could do that. Because now both parties are agreeing. So, any problems or issues with 2 through 6 before we go back to the vein of my existence one?
Sounds clear
Are we
to
gonna
me.
talk about the years?
If you guys want to talk about the years, now,
What was up?
you said I don't have no changes, so I don't have anything
What
written.
years, what do you mean years?
Go from 2 years to 4 years, but I don't think now's the time to do it.
No.
As far as how
Not
long you
with everything,
serve?
not with everything that's going on recently in there.
Well, now let's stick with it, let them change that later.
I think that's probably a bigger discussion than we can probably make sure people understand.
Because I think that's what happened. They didn't understand. They understood the seats, but they didn't understand the years of the 2 and the 4 and the 3 and the 4. Because a citizen had brought it up, wanting us to go 4 years. Because once you get elected, you don't even have time enough to do the work in the community. It's time for election again. Then you get voted off, or, or.
And your project hanging.
Yeah. So that's not giving no council member time enough to understand government or work things out in the community. So, we'll wait.
Can we put that off till the next election?
We'll wait. Yeah, we could do it next year.
Keep talking, I'm going. Because I'm still trying to figure
No,
out.
I mean, we could do it next year, we don't have to do it right now. But I just wanna,
I see the value.
Bring that out,
Exploring it,
because-
yeah, I see the value in exploring it.
With
Two.
this change to seats, isn't it gonna be less likely if you're doing a good job that you lose? Like, now people are gonna have to, it's gonna reduce the competition per seat, right? 3 people wanna run, they get to pick who they run against. If there's 2 people up for election, they're not all 3 thrown in a bucket. Right? So,
for
So
the
it's
ours,
specific to what they've done on council as to who runs against them.
for ours, you gonna do 4 years, and for the even.
it will become even more of a popularity.
Okay, let's move on to the
This
vein
is what-
of Leslie's existence.
Nobody ain't running up here on the.
I figured out the problem. I should have numbered the pages. I was on version 2 and then I turned it over and read the part from version A. Okay, so I made sense after all. Look at that. Okay, so let's go back to version B. And for that one, the section 3, and nobody taught this, y'all over there letting me just do.
Three.
Section 3 of Amendment 1, version B.
Okay. 406.
Yep.
Okay.
So during odd number years, the 2 designated seats scheduled for election shall be filled. The method for determining the winner of each seat shall be as provided in section 2.024, not 24, 2C, which is the way it currently is. All right, let me see here.
I'm sorry,
No,
I'm falling
I'm still-
asleep over here, so I had to bring up something.
We're just getting rid of the runoff.
Let's put, how about
on
this?
7.
We all agree no runoff elections, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Let's figure it out.
So you just write,
I'll figure
number
it out.
7 will be, we all agree that there's no runoff.
Right.
We're going on popular vote.
I will rethink the process of whether or not we need an extra 7 to do that, or just put it all in one. I think I can put it all in one and make
Because
it
you don't
happen.
think it'll be a double
Yeah, I don't know if it would be double since we're talking about it already. That's the part I just have to figure out, and I think if we have to separate it, then that's how we get to confusion too. If they decide not to do 7 and we got it in.
So 7 will replace number 5.
So
So
we'll
we
have,
don't wanna do runoff.
we don't wanna do runoffs, so I will draft it to make sure we are just doing the votes, determination of how an election will go the same way.
So that needs
And that's why
that
it's
needs an
good for
amendment.
citizens to come tonight, so they could voice their opinion.
Yeah,
Cause that's, in a way, that's okay and good, and then again, if you and I are running against each other, it's you, like, say you, myself and Tanya running for the same seat. You get 50 votes, Tanya get 51, I get 20. It's split the votes, so
Tanya wins.
time to win.
it's like.
But here's
But
the
then that is
concept of
like
the
so
runoff.
close.
Yeah, but here's the concept of the runoff, is that you want somebody in the seat who's got the majority support of the voters. That's how you get to why you would want the 50, percent plus 1, because now this person was
Right.
elected by the majority of the voters. So that's why they do it. It makes sense when you're doing elections in Jacksonville. To do a whole nother election here, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. But again, that is a discussion I think that should be had at another time. And for
Another
the
year.
people to consider whether or not that's what they want.
And if they don't like what happens this year, then they can change it for next year.
Right. And look, so
So we
this
could
is,
go 30, 31, and 32, and 32 wins, even though it's not a 51%.
so when this allows me to publish, so I can put the ordinance title together and I can get it to Riverbend News so it can go in next week's paper. There's a first reading and a second reading. You're not stuck with what we just decided today.
Oh.
You can make amendments. The public can come in and disagree and talk about it and you can change it. But I needed to know what to put in the newspaper. Yeah, so that's why it was a workshop, since we just kind of come to a consensus of what I can put in the newspaper without me just putting something in the newspaper.
Sounds good.
Any other changes? All right. Citizens vote?
I've got one.
Okay, oh, and then we got here another item on
Well, that's right, yeah, okay. What, yeah,
there about the election dates.
I was just noticing, and I don't know what it is for this year, but last year we did not have Fridays for early voting. Are we having it this year since we have an open office now?
We
I thought
do
Set
not,
specific dates already in.
I think it was Christmas.
That's why we did that already in the meeting.
Does it include Friday?
right.
I
So
don't think so.
it doesn't include Friday. The general notice was presented to you guys excluding the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. When I checked with staff, that was determined to be the best way to do it.
And we voted.
And
We're
y'all-
open on Fridays, though, right?
Well, we voted on that. Didn't we vote on that?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Actually, Cheryl, I was here last year on the last election. I came in that day and was here.
For early voting on that Friday?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's for early voting and for qualifying.
Because I thought there was
We
some
gave them the whole
question
week.
about it.
We had the whole week was here.
Okay. But we don't have it this year?
I don't know what we're doing
The
this
notice
year.
excludes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from the dates.
Is that
But we-
okay legally?
Yes, so we made sure that
Carol,
we
we
counted.
voted on it in a council
I'm just-
meeting.
No, but I'll clarify. So the number of days for qualifying, let's say when you're qualifying for a state office, is 5 days. So we made sure we still have 5 days. Because we have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday. So we're still providing 5 days for people to come in to qualify. For early voting, there's a certain number of days that are required, and we are making sure that we meet the number of days that are still required.
Okay, so even though it's not Friday, it's a combination of whatever that minimum is.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. And are all
But we're
these,
not doing the absentee votes though, are we? Or we're not?
That is a discussion with the supervisor of elections. How do we normally do that? I don't
I'm
know.
sorry, what was the question?
About absentee ballots, vote by mail ballots for the election?
Absentee ballots were sent to Laura the last election. Laura bought those with her the night of the election. They did not come here.
Okay.
They went to Laura.
When you talk with Laura or meet with Laura, you can probably find the dates about when she's mailing them out. And if there's a deadline for when people need to notify her that they, so for a mail out, you can always pick one up from the
And when
supervisor
she-
of elections office.
Actually, she provided some here.
Mhm.
They could pick them up, but they could not bring them back here. They had to send them directly to her.
Gotcha. And they could
So
drop
that's
them
probably
off.
what she's gonna do this year too.
Right.
They can pick them up from
They
here.
can pick them up, but not bring them back here. They have to mail them to Jasper.
Do you know the date that the ballots will be complete?
I'm not sure, I've not met with Laura yet.
Well, we'll know it's after qualifying. Cause we don't, so we know it'll be after March 17th. So pretty much the way the charter is written is, I believe, the following day by 5 p.m., we have to submit all the names to the supervisor of elections. And probably once she knows how many people are running for each race, then the discussion is about what the ballot will look like. And, because there are certain standards, right,
I remember
there are
that
certain
was a discussion
standards.
last year.
And, ideally, we've got those 6 potential amendments, only the ballot title, the amendment title and summary up here. So it's not all this language that you have here. But
So
all
it
this
looks like
language
this.
does have to be part of the ordinance.
Yeah, so it's this big rather than.
Right.
So just from my own knowledge, if anybody asks me,
Mhm.
if somebody says, hey, we're gonna get more information on what exactly these amendments are about, are we gonna provide packets like this that people can pick up at town hall?
So the ordinance itself, the main thing I have to have ready by Thursday for sure is the title, because that's what goes in the newspaper. By the time that it publishes next Wednesday, they will be able to come here and pick up the full ordinance. And the full
Will those be
ordinance.
at our next meeting, our general meeting?
We can have them there too. So, and they'll be here. But the full ordinance will have all the amendment language. Now, if you want me to keep the drafting notes on them, there's no harm in doing that.
That's pretty much explains it, right? Somebody reads that,
Yeah. And so they'll be able to come next Wednesday and pick up the ordinance, because I've got it drafted, but again, at 3 a.m. We can take another look at that.
Would it be okay if I converted what you handed out
Yeah,
and added to the notes of this?
absolutely.
Not the
Yeah.
PDF thingy?
Mhm.
No, I just turn it into a document and then copy paste it into the thing,
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
into the notes.
Public information.
Yeah.
So we can do it that way where the notes stay on it, and that may help. Now, you're gonna have a chance to talk about it on the 10th. We're gonna talk about it, we're gonna talk about it on the 3rd. We're on, council meeting is on the 10th, where more people show up. We can talk about it again. We can put it on the agenda as
If
something
they
to
have
talk about.
questions.
Yep, and then we have to talk about it again on the 17th. So there are 3 opportunities for people to come in. So if they read through it and they still have more questions, tell them to come to one of those meetings. Or recommend they come to one of those meetings. Or watch the next video.
There you go.
Excellent presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple of.
Need some strong editing.
Economic Development Council of the region is holding a leadership for tomorrow at North Gateway College, Lake City, Thursday, 8:30 to noon. And if I want to go, let me know, because I'm going, you going,
That's Wednesday or Thursday?
Thursday, the 26th,
Stuff
8:30 to 12.
8:30 to 12.
This Thursday.
I've already got stuff on Thursday.
And then, the sheriff came by today and him and his crew. And, he made a statement that I want to get to everybody in White Springs. All events needing sheriff's assistant coordination or assistance, you coordinate directly with the sheriff or Major Lee. You coordinate with them if you need a sheriff's assistant in White Springs for any event, like city, whatever, go to the sheriff or Major Lee. Not to any of the secretaries or anybody else, because things is going on and so he made that statement today.
He wants it firsthand.
So I just want to make sure that we spread it as wide as you can, okay?
Is that something we could put in the orange banner at the top of
We
the,
could do it, because,
because a lot of people read that.
yeah.
I don't know, I mean, is this for town stuff?
He
I mean, I
said
would imagine.
all events needing sheriff's assistance.
Okay,
And
What do you mean,
we do with him, we do with him anyhow.
yeah. I mean, cause I would imagine, let's say if somebody else is having an event, they would call the sheriff's office
No,
and they
they
would
call
be
the
told
secretary or
to,
something
yeah,
like
to
that,
talk
yeah.
to the sheriff.
Or one of the deputies, or
Yeah.
that way, so I guess it, you know, he feels that him and the mayor are in charge, I think he is.
Look there, see.
Huh?
It's on video.
I want no video.
Oh,
All right, Tom manager.
All right.
So I did wanna hold a candidate workshop like we did last, year. For,
Can we do it before the night, before the packets are due?
yeah,
That would be helpful for the kids.
so I was originally gonna do it tonight, which probably would have been too soon anyway, and then we needed to do this.
Mercy.
So, I'm thinking the meeting on the 3rd should be relatively short because it is a first reading. So unless people have questions, this is the first reading of ordinance 2026-03,
Yeah, 3. yeah.
03,
I'm sorry.
and then we read the title. And unless there's some further discussion, and I know you guys wanna talk about this more, but
What is the 03?
the ordinance that's gonna be for the charter amendment. So what we do at that meeting is we read the ordinance title. That's like what we're required to do.
And that's all of these little guys?
No. The ordinance title's gonna be it's gonna be that this is an ordinance amending the charter in like some, broad way, like in regards to election.
We're just doing it.
Required by law, you
Yeah.
gotta have a preamble.
Yeah, just like the title part of the ordinance, which I know I got. I've been in, so last night was
So does the ordinance just add it to the ballot?
yeah.
And if it wins, loses. And all of y'all got the dates, I think you go over all the dates coming up, February 25th, March. Record council meeting the 10th. And,
March the 3rd.
March the 3rd is gonna be
That's the first reading for the charter amendment.
March.
Is there a vote or just a reading?
It's just a reading.
So we have a meeting on the 3rd.
Yeah, and
And
so
the
I
general
think
meeting
that
on the
would be, we do that meeting at
Yeah,
6:30.
meeting will be.
Or we could move that up to 6:30. And that should only last about 30 minutes, and then at 7 o'clock, we could do the candidate workshop.
On the 3rd,
Mm-hmm.
what's today? Is that gonna give us time to get notice out for anybody that wants to be on the ballot?
Hopefully, I mean, I don't know how y'all do it around here, and what works and what doesn't work, but that's a week from now. And they don't, I mean, they just can come, I wanna say the qualifying period starts on the 10th, so that gives them a week before qualifying starts.
Lee, what are the other dates for the comprehensive committee? So we got some of them coming up too.
And then the second reading is on the 30th.
17th.
So what's on
Oh,
the 30th?
well, February 19th, you had the notice that you go out. Comprehensive plan is on the 25th. 25th, we'll do the amended, comp plan.
And I think I sent out some dates on that too, because
Yes, ma'am.
it's tight, like once again. So just wanted y'all to make sure that we have
What was the
before.
comprehensive, statement?
25th, February 25th.
No,
And
okay,
No,
no,
March.
yeah, so I'll go through the dates.
Yeah, March.
Public notice will come out tomorrow in tomorrow's paper. Adam and Clay, our planners, did send over the final versions of what's called the water supply plan, the amended comprehensive plan. And
When they send that, they didn't send that to me.
they probably only
You
sent
guys
us
got, I got it
two,
today, I'll get it out to you.
because I've got to attach it to the ordinance that needs to be ready tomorrow. So I'll forward those over to you. So tomorrow, they'll be available, the ordinance and the comprehensive plan.
Well, we'll do the first reading on March the 10th and the second reading on April 14th at our regular council meetings.
No, not necessarily, because this is how it went. This is confusing, that's why I had to write it out. So technically, the first reading was done in February of 2025. The first reading is done, and then it goes to the state. And the state reviewed it and said there are changes that needed to be made.
That's of the comprehensive plan.
Right, so now we have those changes, and now we do a second reading with the changes.
And that's on the 25th.
The 25th, tomorrow, it'll be available. I'll email you
March
guys.
25th.
Yeah, no, February 25th.
It's available.
Yeah, it's in my inbox right now.
We got it, came later.
I just need to put Exhibit A, because it's Exhibit A, and attach it. Adobe could attach the documents together, and then it's the ordinance. Yeah, I'll put it all together. I'll put it together. And then I'll email it over to you, and that way people can come in and pick it up. We can put it on the website, make it available, and so,
Will you have mini maps too?
no, those are maps.
So they're not gonna be small down?
I don't think they're small like that in the comp plan. I don't
We
think
do,
so.
yeah, we do. Most of the maps over there are, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to call them ancillary, but that's not the right word. They're,
Appendix.
Appendixes, yeah, they're,
As appendix to the,
they were added for the purposes of the approval from the state, they're not part of the comp plan. The only part that is actually a part of the comp plan is the flume, the future land use map,
yeah.
which is the colorful color.
So are any of those in this size, or are they all just big cardboard?
Yeah, I have them in that side.
Yeah, but this size.
That map is in the comp plan.
It would be nice to have those available with the comp plan.
So all of the items that I listed, they already sent them over. I told them to send them over by next Thursday, which is the deadline for packets. Because
What are we talking about now?
the March,
Election?
No, I'm not the comp.
still on comprehensive plan.
Okay.
Look, the way all these dates are running in my head, that's why I can write them down. So March 10th, which is the regular meeting, 3 things need to be done. Resolution accepting the data and analysis for the comprehensive plan amendment. So I'll have to put together the resolution adopting or accepting the data and analysis that was used for the comp. So we would have to vote on that, pass that. It would be the second reading and public hearing on ordinance now number 202602 to adopt the comprehensive plan amendment. That will show up in the newspaper for notice tomorrow. And then we will have the first reading of the ordinance for 2026-03, which is adoption of the water supply plan. We can go ahead and have the first reading without publishing it, because in the comp plan, it simply says that we will adopt it. So we can wait to do this in a normal course, thank goodness. First reading, this regular meeting, and then I will publish that ordinance for it to run, and then in the April meeting will be the second reading and public hearing on the adoption of the water supply plan. The comprehensive plan that is voted on March 10th needs to be transmitted like 2 days later. That's well before the April 9th deadline, but gets that off of our list of things to do. Robert gets to write that off.
Yeah, I actually have a list.
I know you have a list.
It's very long.
And I believe it.
I'm supposed to meet you today, but you gotta be on the list. It's on the list, I know.
It's not one of your list.
It's right after schedule of fees and right before zoning hours.
There you go.
Section 1.
So we've gotta get all those things done,
Part 1.
and
6
then
of 8.
I did recommend, when I was talking to Clay and Adam, they recommend getting on the zoning map ASAP. Like,
Yes, the zoning atlas was probably inaccurate when it was published 12 years ago. So I can't imagine it is more accurate today.
no, not. So, but they did recommend, like, probably scheduling a meeting to start dealing with that pretty quickly.
Is that covered under the same grant?
We didn't get the grant.
They didn't approve our grant.
Yeah.
And as today, you've got $274,000 in the house budget, but we don't have anything in the Senate budget yet.
Yeah, how much?
$274,000 for the house for the water
That's the work.
plan, and that's recommended now. They're telling me that, I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Do we know what happened with the stuff Schultz and Simon recommended?
Well, that was checked today, and that's the response I got. Nothing's going to say that $274,000, but it shows.
So they knocked down
They
the
knocked down
800
and everything else.
and
I got to follow up on that and see what happens.
So what happens now is the budget from, the Senate will pass a budget, the House will pass a budget, they will not agree, and they will have to confer on what they agree. And then once they agree, then it still goes to the governor, who has line item veto, and this, whatever the year of 2026 is, not. So if it's not the year of this or that, it can still come out.
Florida League of Cities read everybody the RIDE Act when he went down there. And they basically were like, don't hold your breath for appropriations. this
Yeah,
year.
that's what it's saying.
All this money for me.
I think that their seats are every 2 years.
Still can.
So yes, refer
And
back
their seats 2
to,
and 4 years for Corey's and seats.
They for the sugar too.
Okay, so Senate is for the representative too. Okay, so you remember this stuff, for the council election.
That's right.
remember,
I'm just saying.
elections have consequences.
Right.
Nikki, I watched your redevelopment committee last night, it was awesome. When is the next meeting?
The 23rd.
No, no, I guess it is the 23rd. We're gonna do it during the next meeting, right?
Before the meeting, we're gonna do the, I guess, it's not interviews, but it's sort of like the interviews.
Yeah.
Presentation.
Fourth
Monday of every month.
Q&As.
With the different developers,
Right.
So,
and then we have our meeting afterwards.
March the 23rd.
March 23rd?
Yes.
And then we have another meeting after that.
Our standing meetings are the fourth Mondays of every month.
So you enjoyed the meeting, Cheryl? Were you had a chance to watch it?
It was amazing, the ideas that came forth.
Any struck you as very interesting?
Oh,
You know, since we're in a public meeting.
Oh, I gotta,
The tiny home thing, like, when we went to Cross City, into that place
This is what I was trying to tell you.
where you're going, oh, click, click, click.
Yeah.
If we could do something like that here, would be amazing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
What I was telling Robert was that, cause he was like, that sounds good, but he doesn't wanna mess up the land, like cut down.
Oh, this is so
But you
helpful
don't
to
have to
do.
do
No,
little
it's
areas, like little
incorporated in.
pods and have it
Yeah, it's
clear
all of this
areas
is
in the
like,
pod.
you got to go.
So it's
You
mostly-
got to go.
Mostly wood.
Go online, go online.
What time is the meeting?
Saturday,
What time is the meeting?
I think that's the one we're gonna start earlier next
6 or
time.
6:30?
Our meeting starts at 6.
No, but isn't that the one we're gonna try to start earlier?
Because you gotta have.
Well, yeah, we're doing the
3:34.
interview starting at 4.
Yeah.
Well, the presentation starts at 4.
I gotta put this on, I forgot. Yeah.
Lee, when was it dinner at the Florida League of Cities? It was in April, right?
The
Yeah.
25th
It's
is
gonna
what
be,
it is.
Lavo,
That's when y'all are out of town.
Lavo, and we're hosting in the 24th of September. We'll be hosting the,
League.
Water River League.
Where are we gonna hold it?
At 4.
Right now, I'm working with.
We're doing presentations at 4.
I'm not
Yeah.
coming to
What's
I don't know.
the place up down here?
Stephen Foster Community Center?
Oh,
no,
okay, I keep forgetting y'all employed.
Y'all have
There's a
such
chemical
a big.
place out, where is it, Nutrient? Nutrient.
That's what we're doing.
that. Yes.
Landlord right now.
I seen posters.
Cause then we gotta be.
We're gonna show up.
We got to show
We're
off.
gonna show off, and there's so many, that nutrient plant has got so many possibilities.
But y'all don't think people gonna get lost
No,
going?
no, we're gonna get,
They got to put signs out there.
we'll get back.
Balloons, we can put balloons.
We'll take
With those little
care
floppy things with the air.
We'll take care of it.
Go this way.
Yeah.
Out to the reclamation center, right?
They're new
I
company.
know,
I can't hurry up, my body's giving out, guys.
The reclamation center, okay.
So, that's all I got.
I mean, it is pretty, that though.
We throwing out.
We go out there and go fishing. Well, I don't
It's
think.
all natural, it's incorporating so much nature in it.
It's online too. I've looked up pictures
You know the
online.
name
Well,
of
which
it?
one?
Which one?
For Cross City.
Cross City has one, Chiefland has one.
That one that she
In
had,
Old Town.
the place that she had
Another
in the
one.
packet, both places actually have been passed. One of them I actually saw online, and then I went to it, and it's amazing. And then, like, you've got a range of tiny homes that you can, like, affordable ones for affordable housing.
But they had so
But
much,
Remember last year, we looked at a whole
luxury
bunch
ones.
of them.
but they had so much more than just the homes.
So Lee, was live up the 23rd of April, you said?
I have it the 20. I have it.
I thought it was the 25th.
I got the 16.
I think we need to explore as a town renting out, like we talked about last night, the outlets that are on the outside of the ball field.
16th.
Renting those, making sure that they work, and renting those out for the glamping that Be Faithful mentioned.
Chamber building
What
right
do you
there.
think about?
Like, they've got these glamping groups that Be Faithful had mentioned, and we were
Oh,
talking about it
okay.
last night.
What do
About
you think
renting that
about
out
septic dumps,
during,
though?
So the one thing I
they can
heard,
hold their septic tanks for a weekend.
one thing I heard that is a major consideration that we need to think about, and it's a downside, because I know I talked to somebody years ago about this. There are people who will just rent it for a weekend and they won't leave. You can't get rid of them, and then you have to evict them.
Well, I think Florida laws changed to allow it, to make it easier
Yeah, cause
to, and there would be a contract, and I think I think Florida law just changed, and I know laws are being proposed all the time to change that to where if you do not have a lease and if you agree you're gonna rent it for a weekend or a month or whatever, and you do not leave, it is easier to kick you out.
cause that should be just like in
Cause
a
actually-
hotel.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, a lot to do, not a whole lot to do.
Are we done?
Yes, let's go.
We don't need a motion, it's workshop.
Yeah.
I saw that in New York, I don't even.